He was grasping for oxygen. He was not able to breathe because of his nostrils was blocked. After the Ottoman Turks came, so everything was closed. The trade route between them was completely closed. Plastic is the most exported thing in China. The Ottoman Turks who just closed the trade route, they boycotted the trade route. Hello everyone, a warm welcome to your Prep School English class. I'm Babita Tamaya, your Prep School English teacher. In today's session, we'll be learning about one of the beautiful lessons, that is Silk Road. So let's see what is there in today's session. So in today's session, I'll be discussing about the author, the background of the story and the summary. So without wasting our time, let's dive deep into today's session. Let's know about the author of the chapter, that is Silk Road. That is Nick Middleton is the author. So he was a British physical geographer and he also traveled around 70 countries. So how many countries? He traveled around 70 countries. So in going to extremes, a channel, that is, it is a channel, TV channel, a television program was there, that is experienced life in the hostile condition. And he won the Royal Geographical Society's NEET Award in the year 2002. Has authorized and co-authored multiple books and articles. He was the author and co-author of multiple books and articles. And the thesis, he had written the thesis, and the name of the thesis is The Geography of Dust and Storm. This is the thesis he had written. This is a very short note about the author, Nick Middleton. So now let's see, before going into the story, we need to know the background of the story. So what is the background of the story here? So it is the trade route between the Silk Road. Silk Road is a trade route between China and the east of Middle East and Europe. So it was a trade between China and the East and the Middle East, including Europe. So the trade happened between whom? It was under the Han dynasties. That is in 130 BC, the Han dynasty, they opened the trade route with the West. They were the one to start the trade route with the West. And what happens after that? The trade route was opened and the traders from the West till that is 1453 AD. So Han dynasty started the trade route with the, that is the Silk trade route from the East to the Middle East and the Europe, included the Europe also. The trade started in 130 BC until when it was, the trade was open till 1453 AD. Till then the trade route was open for the East and the Middle East, including Europe. So what happened after that? After that, the Ottoman Turks who just closed the trade route, they boycotted the trade route. Who? The Ottoman Turks boycotted the trade route that was with China and closed all the Silk routes. So China had a trade route with East, Middle East and also included Europe. So after the Ottoman Turks came, so everything was closed. The trade route between them was completely closed and it was boycotted by them. So whatever the trade routes they had in that Silk Road, everything was stopped completely. It's been 6,000 years. Since how many years? From 6,000 years, the trade route is completely stopped by the Ottoman Turks. So what happens that? Enormous impact. So after the trade routes was completely shut by the Turks, there was an impact. Impact on what? Impact on trade and the commerce, that's the Asian markets. Not only with that, even completely changed the commerce culture and the history. Because most of the time we also depend on the food, that is the packed food. So there was a problem with that because that was the trading happening when everything was closed for a very long period of time, when it was closed, when it was boycotted completely. So each and everyone, it impacted a lot. This is a short background of the story. So what is the story all about? So one ought to leave a place to reach another. So here the narrator, that is none other than Nick Middleton, he left Rahu and he wanted to do a pilgrimage known as Kora. Kora is a pilgrimage. In Indian sense, it means to say yatra. So here the narrator, Nick Middleton wanted to do the Kora, that is the pilgrimage, and he wanted to reach, or he wanted to climb the Mount Kailash. So where was his pilgrimage taken to? His pilgrimage was to Mount Kailash. Is the narrator only going? No. Along with the narrator, you can see Daniel and Sutton is also going along with the narrator. They both are accompanying the narrator to the Kora. Kora is a pilgrimage. They wanted to pilgrim the place that is known as Mount Kailash. So when they were going, the place was too very cold. It was snow falling also was there. So Lamo is nothing but a long sleeved sheepskin coat was given. So as it was too very cold, the place, snow falling was there. So a long sleeved coat which was made out of sheepskin. So that sheepskin coat was given to Nick and Daniel. So when Nick ordered that sheepskin coat, he looked like a Drogba. So how he looked when the narrator ordered the sheepskin coat, he looked like a Drogba. What do you mean by Drogba? Drogba is nothing but the nomads over there who keeps rearing the animals, that is known as nomads. So he just looked like a nomads. You can see here in the picture, these are known as Drogba. These are the nomads. So the place that they were going, that is Mount Kailash, that the place they were going, it was not so very easy for them to go and reach. It was too very long distance, and it was a risky also. The place they were going, it was risky, and they have to cut Chantang. Cut Chantang, it means to say they took a shortcut, and the shortcut was too very risky for them. No snow, no problem. If there was no snow falling, then it was no problem with them. But if there was snowing happening, then it was too very difficult for them to reach the Mount Kailash. And uncertainty. So we don't even know whether it's snowing is there or snowing is not there. But the place, whatever the shortcuts they have taken, it was too very risky. So what happens next? The start of the journey. They started their journey from Ruwa to Kora. They have started, and whatever the route they have taken, it is a risky route. That is the shortcut. So vast open plains and pastures. So as they were moving, as their journey started, they could see, or they just moved away from the plains and the pastures and the gazelles. Gazelles is nothing but a animal which looks like a deer. And there was a stony or grassy. So the way they were going, there was a stone kind of a place as well as a grass place also. And Dobras. So here Drogbas was told there, that is when the narrator wore it, he looked like a Drogba. But as they were traveling, they could see the real Drogbas. This is known as Drogbas. They could see the real Drogbas, that is the men and the women, along with the flocks or a group or a flock of cattle they were going. And a snow-capped mountain. They also saw a snow-capped mountain on their way, on their journey. And the valley river clogged with ice. Clogged with ice in the sense the valley was filled with ice. And sharpened turns. And when they started their journey, as I told, it was a stony and grassy places. So it was very hard for them in the first to move, because stone, okay fine, but when it's stony in the grassy places, they moved. After that, it was through the sharpened tunes. So it was not easy for them. They have to take the sharp turns, and climbed continued, and then their journey continued. So once they started their journey, it was like increasing it, the level of height was increasing day by day. Pressure in the ears. So has the height, that is the altitude. The altitude is the height above the sea level. When the altitude, when they started to increase the height, what happens? Even the pressure also increases. When the pressure increased, the narrator, that is Nick, had some hurt in his ear. What happened to his ears? Health, nose, snorted, cleared. So he had some problem with the ears, and what did he do? He just closed his nose and snorted out. When he snorted out, it was completely cleared for him. And there it was. So what was there after this in their journey? So it was this, that is the pharaoh. You can see the dog looks so very ferocious, isn't it? To look, it's so very cute, but on the other side, it looks so very ferocious. So what happened? Here, isolated nomadic tents. So as they were moving in their journey, as they were moving forward, they could see isolated tents. Isolated tents, it means to say one tent here and the other tent there. It was not very close. Far away, they could see each one or the other tent. And there they used, when the car was moving, they could see this Tibetan Mastiff. So this dog is known as Tibetan Mastiff. And how it looks, the way it looks, the car or the people travel there, it would be like bullet from a gun, as if it was shooting. As I told, it looks so very ferocious. So he's just describing, the narrator, the author describes about the Mastiff dog. He says that it is a shaggy black monster. You can see it is black in color. It's a shaggy black monster along with bright red collars. He would have had a bright red collars around his neck and a massive jaws. The massive jaws, if it opens his mouth, everyone would have scared. So such kind of a massive jaws this Mastiff dog had. And China's imperial coats. So here, this dog is known as the hunting dogs, or the China's imperial court used this dog for hunting. Other than that, here, ancient times, in the ancient times, tribute from Tibet. So this dog was sent to the Silk Road as a tribute to the Tibetans. Tribute, it means to say, as a gift, it was sent to the Tibetan through the Silk Road. That was the first gift given by the China to Tibet. So this dog is used as a hunting dog in China's imperial court. That was about the dog. So after that, they had to, that there was no blockages and the narrator would feel sickness. So he felt sickness because of the snow blockages. So let's see what happened with the narrator. First, snow blockages. If a slip off, car would turn. As their journey started, as I told, it was not a so very easy thing. It was a risky place, whatever they were going, and the way, the route they have taken, that is the shortcut, it was too very risky. And the first blockage, the first snow blockage, and what happened in that? That is, if the car slip, because of the snow blockage, if the car slipped from the snow, what happens? It would have turned over, it would have turned. So that is what he says. Could have turned, the car could have turned if they slipped from the snow. And so the narrator, that is Nick Middleton, he just sees his watch. It was 5,200 meter altitude. Altitude, as I told, it is the height above the sea level. It was 5,210 meter altitude. After that, stamping dirt and flinging, what they did? So the route was not so very easy. They stamped the dirt. So after stamping the dirt, the car could move easily. So they moved easily after stamping the dirt. Again, after 10 minutes, another blockage. So they just crossed the first blockage. After that, again within a 10 minutes, they could see another blockage. So it was steep slope, major rocks driving around. So it was a steep slope. It was too very slope. They were driving around. That is the second blockage. It was 5,400 meter altitude. Trembling headache. So as I told, when they move forward, when the height increases, even the pressure increases, even the height also increases. When the pressure was increasing, the narrator had a trembling headache. He had a severe, very bad headache. Top 5,515 meter altitude, pile of rocks, white silk scavers, rat prayer flags. So they reached one of the peak. So it was 5,550 meter. They reached the peak. So one of the peak. So there, when they reached that peak, they could see the other people who had reached this place. They had kept this flags over there. They could see that. So at last they somehow managed. So I told it was a steep. They just took the turn. They turned around and they come and reach the peak over there. It was a slope, but somehow they managed and they were successful to take over the turn and come and reach that place. Descended, headache cleared. So as the pressure was increasing, the narrator had a trembling headache. But when they were descending, coming down, he had the headache was released. He had a relaxation when they were descending towards down. So as they were coming down, they could see the camp there. So They could see a work camp was going on, and there they had hot noodles. The narrator and his two people who were accompanied him, they had their noodles over there. And as they were moving, they could see the plateau, salt flats, brackish lakes, vestiges of oceans. All this they could see when they were in the work camp. So after that, it is Daniel said Tata. It means to say it was a time for Daniel to bid farewell. He says that he was not able to continue his journey with the narrator Nick and Saturn. So next, they reached a place, Horn. Horn is a place, and this place was so very miserable, small and no greenery. So this place looks like completely dry land, like a dry land, because there was no greenery at all. So it was very small. It looks very small and no greenery. Which was the place? That was a place called Hor is a place. So shore of Manasa Sarovara, workshop in Tibet. So here where they reached, from Horn, they reached the shore of Manasa Sarovara. From the Manasa Sarovara, when he could see that the place, that is the Mount Kailash, looks like it is very close to him. So from where he was seeing, the narrator was seeing everything from the hotel where he had stayed. The outside the balcony he is standing and is just viewing the point. So he says Manasa Sarovara, when he stands there and he views the Manasa Sarovara, he feels that Mount Kailash is very close to him. And Hindu and Buddhist cosmology, Indus, Ganges, Satluj and Brahmaputra. So here, as I told, Manasa Sarovara is also it is related to the Hindu religion also. And there are other 4 rivers accompanied with the Manasa Sarovara. It is Indus, Ganges, Satluj and Brahmaputra rivers. And here, Kailash was close by. As I told, seeing the view outside, standing near his balcony in the hotel, he feels that Kailash is very close by Manasa Sarovara. And here he can see that whatever the ideas he has given, he just shares his experience as well as feelings. But there are 2 feelings, are the experience told by 2 of the people. One is by the Japanese monk, that was in 1990, and one is by the Sweden. So when these 2 people visited Manasa Sarovara, or when they had gone to that place, their eyes was in tears. They felt that the 2 people, whatever they told about Manasa Sarovara, saying that they had tears when they are not emotional over here, but when they looked the Manasa Sarovara river, they had some tears in their eyes. So he says, whatever these people have told after visiting, I never had such contrast with them. So each and every person's contrast, the ideas differs, and here these were not emotional, but looking after Manasa Sarovara, these 2 became emotional, and they say their eyes was filled with water. And then emotional sanctity of the lake. He says, I was not emotional. The water never came in my eyes. That is why he says each and every person's experience and the contrast differs everywhere. What next? So the next, a guest house in Dachin, something was wrong. So what happened? They just reached the peak and they are in the Manasa Sarovara. So what happened there for the narrator? Troubled night. It was a troublesome night. He did not have proper sleep. He was not able to sleep. Why? Because nostrils blocked with cold. Here, the altitude there, the pressure was high, but now they don't have so much of pressure. The pressure has come down. But even then, the nostrils of the narrator, both the noses are blocked. He is not able to breathe properly. And it was 4,760 meter altitude. Heavy chest. So not only that, he had a heavy chest as well as gasping for oxygen. He was gasping for oxygen. He was not able to breathe because of his nostrils was blocked. So what did he do? Breathing through single nostril. So when he had a problem, he thought he can just press one nose and can breathe in the other nose. He tried that also, but it did not work out. He was not able to breathe. He walked for some time and he sat. When he sat, whatever the blockages he had, everything was released. He felt relaxed. Then he thought of pressing his one nose and sleeping. He tried in all ways, but it was not possible. It was a sleepless night for the narrator. See, startup relieved but scared. So when he stand up, when he stood, when he walked, and when he came and sat again, the nostrils block was released. But when he again went to bed, again it was the same thing. So he was scared to sleep. And then he thought, with okay, fine, I'll not sleep for a day. It will be just a sleepless day for me. Dachin Medical College following morning. So there was one college in Horn. That is the place they have gone. So here the other person who was accompanying the narrator, he took him to this medical college and the medicines was given to him. Everyday course of Tibetan medicine. What was the medicine? It was for the 5 day. 5 day he has to take the medicine, and the medicine was of the Tibetan course. So when he got that flavor and he did not think of anything else, he just swallowed it because he wanted to get it cured. Slept soundly like a log, not a dead man. So after taking the medicines, whatever the doctor he had given, and he slept so very light, he was fast asleep, and he slept like dog but not like a dead body. So who is sleeping here? It is the narrator Nick Middleton. So what happens after that? Teston also left. So here the narrator had two people accompanying him. One is Daniel and the next person was Teston. So Daniel has already left. Now it is Teston who says that even he has some work. So he cannot accompany the narrator, or he cannot continue his journey with Nick Middleton. So death fine for the business, not fine. So he says, if you're dead, that is Teston saying to the Nick Middleton, if you're dead, we are not going to lose anything, because he has not come for the business purpose. If you have come for the business purpose and you have dead, it will be a bad name for the place. So if you die, there is no loss for us. That is what he meant to say. Vision of the Himalayas, Guru Mandata. General stores there. So they just reached the places and he could see the general stores were there. So what was there in the general stores? In the general stores, he could see Chinese cigarettes, soaps, prayer flags, bases. All these things he could see in the general stores. So then he could see the men. Men were in the pool. Most of the men, all the men were in the pool, and the women were washing their long hair in the ice water. So what they were washing? They are washing their long hair in the ice water. He could see all these people over there. Wait, no pilgrims was too early. So he feels that he has taken up the pilgrimage to go to Mount Kailash. And when he comes here, he feels that no pilgrimage. So there was no pilgrimage people. He couldn't see people over there who have come for climbing the Mount Kailash. He could see very less people. There was not so many people who have come to see the Mount Kailash or to take the pilgrimage there. So he says it was too early. He feels that was not the right time for him to go for the pilgrimage. That is what he felt, because when he did not see people over there for the pilgrimage, he felt it was not the right time for me. That is what he felt. No progress. Self-help program on positive thinking. So he came with the positive thinking that he is going to he is going to climb the Mount Kailash. With all positive things he came, and the two people who accompanied him both also went because of some work. Now he is left all alone to go for the pilgrimage. There is no one to accompany him. Sleeping difficulty, seasonal cora, no encouragement. So he had a sleeping sickness also because of the snowing. He had that breathing problem. He had a nostril block. All these things he had, and there was no one to encourage him to move forward to take the pilgrimage. So it is China's most successful export. So he sees one of the cafe over there, and that cafe is made out of plastic, because plastic is the most exported thing in China. So shopping bags, you can see the shopping bags which is made out of plastic, which we are not supposed to use, but even then we do it. And these shopping bags are made out of plastic, and the plastics are exported from China. And multicolored sheets on the cafe. There was a cafe, and that cafe was covered with the sheets, and that sheets was covered with multicolors. And from where the sheets they got, that was the plastic sheets. Again, it is exported from China. Conversation led by a book. I have come to do Cora. So when he was there, when the narrator went to that cafe, he could see one of the person who was reading the book, and he also says that he had also come to do the Kora, that is, he also wanted to take up the pilgrimage. So who is the person? Academic papers on importance, never tried. He says, I have never tried to take a pilgrimage, but I want to try. He did not have anyone to accompany him like the narrator. He is also left all alone, and he says, I have never tried, but I want to take up the pilgrimage. So the narrator thought, oh, accidentally I got someone so that I can continue my pilgrimage. So initial relief, ill-equipped. It was a Tibetan, not a practicing Buddhist. It was Na. So Na is a person who says that when he was reading the book, this conversation happens between the narrator and the person, Tibetan person. Conversation happens, and he also says that he's also have come for the first time to go with the pilgrimage. He also wants to give a try, but here the narrator wanted to go along with the people who knows about it, who knows about the Buddhism, who knows about religious thing. He wanted to travel along with them, but here this fellow Na, he was a Buddhist, but he was not practicing anything. He was just writing and reading the books. That is what he has done. So, Norbu, the ideal mate, made yaks carry the luggage. So, we are not supposed to put a luggage on the animals and make them carry. But what does fellow do? That is a Norb Tibetan person, a Buddhist. He tells that we are not going to carry a luggage. It is the yak who carries the luggage. He keeps the luggage on the yak, and the yak carries his luggage. Norba, the new guy. So Norba is the new guy whom the narrator met in the cafe, had a conversation, and along with Norba, now the narrator is moving to the Kailash, that is Mount Kailash. Wind cheater, mental rims, spectacles, Western, Tibetan, and he worked, that is Chinese Academy of Social Science Institute, Ethic, Literature, Beijing, tummy too big. So he's just describing about the person. So here I told Norba is not a person, he's a Buddhist, but he never practiced anything. He was just writing the books. That's it he was doing. He can see his work like Chinese Academy of Social Science Institute, Ethic, Literature, Beijing, all these books were written by him, and he used to keep reading it. So who is to do that? That is Norba. Even he says he also wants to go to the pilgrimage, and no one is there along with him. It is also his first try. And how was his tummy? He had a huge tummy. He had a very big tummy. Who? Norbu had a huge tummy. So now the narrator decided to go. He is accompanying the person, that is Norbu, along with him. He is going to the Mount Kailash. So here you got to know what is the Silk Road all about. So the Silk Road, it was a trade route between China and East and Middle East along with the country Europe. So it was completely closed after the Ottoman Turks came, and it closed for 6,000 years. So nothing, the trade was not at all happening. And how did the narrator take up the journey to Mount Kailash? He wanted to go for a pilgrimage known as Kora, accompanied by two people, and in between all the two goes some work, and the narrator had some snowy sickness. He had a sickness. He had a problem with his nostril, breathing problem. He was gasping for oxygen. He had all that problem, and they could face two snow blockages on their journey, because the journey they took, it was a shortcut journey, and they had to face too many snow blockages. And the narrator also fell sick. After taking the Tibetan medicine, he was fine. Later he meets one of the person from Tibet, and he was a Buddhist, but he never practiced it. So along with them, and here the narrator and the Norba is moving to they are climbing the Mount Kailash. Let's meet up in the next session. Until then, have a good day. Thank you.